You've probably been there. You spot a shiny, cheap dual oven set on a clearance rack, tell yourself it'll do for a few pies, and then after the first batch of cookies sticks, the racks warp. The temperature wanders, left staring at a half-baked disaster and wondering why you didn't just splurge on something that actually works. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Forno Vomero 30-inch double-wall oven tries to position itself as the smarter middle ground between those budget disappointments and the high-end professional units that cost as much as a small car. Let's walk through what that really means for a kitchen that does more than tumbleweed cooking on weekends. First off, the biggest claim on the box is a whopping 10 cubic foot capacity split between two ovens. In practice, that translates to being able to roast a Thanksgiving turkey in the lower chamber while simultaneously baking a batch of croissants in the upper one. For families that love to entertain or for anyone who simply hates the idea of juggling multiple dishes in a single compartment, that dual volume is genuinely useful. It's not just a marketing number. The interior dimensions give you enough room to fit a standard 12-inch sheet pan on a middle rack in the top oven, while the lower oven can comfortably accommodate a 14-inch pie plate plus a roasting pan on a separate rack. If you've ever tried squeezing a lasagna onto a single oven rack and ended up with a mess of uneven cooking, you'll appreciate that extra real estate. That said, the Vomero isn't a fully electronic, Wi-Fi connected marvel. It sticks with mechanical controls, which feel instantly familiar if you grew up turning knobs on a gas range. The downside is the lack of precise digital readouts. You'll be relying on the dial's tactile feedback and the built-in oven light to gauge heat. For many home cooks, that hands-on experience is more enjoyable than scrolling through a smartphone app, but if you're the type who wants a digital probe that tells you 325F, 45% humidity, those mechanical dials could feel a bit old school. In short, the control scheme is a trade-off, simplicity versus granular precision. Convection is where the Vomero tries to earn its higher price. The upper oven uses a fan and an extra heating element to circulate hot air, promising faster, more even browning. In a real-world test baking a tray of chicken wings, the result was noticeably crispier on the outside while staying juicy inside, without the need to flip halfway through. The lower oven, however, sticks with traditional heating, which is great for slow roasting a pot roast that needs a gentle, steady temperature. The combination gives you flexibility. Use convection when you want that quick, even bake, and fall back on conventional heat when you need a low and slow cook. The only catch is that the two ovens operate independently but share the same overall power draw, so you'll notice a slight dip in the house's electrical load if you run both at full blast. In a typical home circuit, that's not a deal-breaker, but in older houses with marginal wiring, it's something to double-check before you plug in. Cleaning is often where ovens betray us. The Vomero's self-cleaning feature is of the concealed heating element variety rather than a high-temperature pyrolytic cycle. In practice, you'll set the self-clean to a low-heat steam mode that loosens food residue, then wipe it away with a damp cloth. For everyday spills, think a splatter of sauce on a pizza stone that's perfectly adequate and far less harsh on interior finishes than the blistering 900-degree cycles found in some premium models. However, if you expect a one-button, bake the entire interior away approach that turns the oven into a self-cleaning oven glass, you'll be disappointed. The trade-off here is that you get a gentler, more energy-efficient cleaning process at the expense of the absolute convenience some high-end competitors boast. Durability is a silent factor that only shows up after months of use. The Vomero's wire racks are coated to resist rust, and they're designed to be repositioned across 6 different levels. In daily life, that means you can slide a heavy Dutch oven from the top to the bottom rack without an arm wrestling session, which is a small but reassuring detail for anyone who likes to experiment with different cooking vessels. The stainless steel exterior also resists fingerprints better than a glossy black finish, so the oven stays looking presentable even after the inevitable grease splashes from a pizza night. Now, who should actually consider buying this unit? If you're a family of 4 or more, or you regularly host dinner parties where multitasking in the kitchen is a norm, the dual oven layout offers a real productivity boost. Home bakers who love to experiment with artisan breads, pastries, and roasted vegetables will find the separation of convection and conventional heat useful. The mechanical controls also appeal to the old-school chef who prefers the tactile feedback of a knob over an app. Conversely, if you live alone, cook only a couple of meals a week, and never feel the need to run 2 dishes simultaneously, the extra cubic footage becomes dead space.